Hi, I'm Caitlin and welcome to my channel CaitMakes, the channel where I make things. Today we are making some incredibly quick and easy DIY projects that you can do in under 10 minutes. These are great if you are a beginner sewer, great at any level if you're just looking for something quick and fun to do. We're going to be doing some very fun color blocked scrunchies, some bandanas for myself and for my dog, and a no heat curling tool. Every single one of these are incredible scrap busters if you have little pieces of fabric that you need to use up and that you don't want to go to waste. These are the products for you. So let's get into it. First up, let's make this color block scrunchie. I am basing the sizing of this one off of my favorite Anthropologie scrunchies, so if you like the big Anthropologie scrunchies as well, this is how we're gonna make it. Here are the measurements I used. Jot these down or take a quick screenshot for later. For these scrunchies, you'll just need 2 rectangles of fabric, and then right sides together, you'll sew one end together to connect them. Then press the seam flat. Once you've made one long rectangle, then you're going to want to finish the short ends of this. So to do that, we're just going to fold it over once and sew it down. And we're doing that on each side. Next, we'll fold this in half, right sides together, and sew all along the edge to make this a long tube. Next up, we just need to turn this tube out, so I'm just attaching a safety pin to one end and then feeding it all the way through so that I can flip this inside out. Then you're going to want to measure 9 inches of 1/4 inch elastic, or whatever elastic you have on hand, but I do think thinner is better. Next, we want to place the elastic inside this tube. So you're going to want to pin it on one end and then feed it all the way through and pin it on the other end, and you will see your scrunchie start to take shape. Now go ahead and sew down the elastic to one side of the fabric, making sure not to close off this tube. You're just attaching it to one side of the fabric. Once that's done, you're going to connect the 2 open ends of the scrunchie together by feeding one end into the other. Then move any excess fabric, make sure that this can lay nice and flat, and you'll sew this down following the seam line that is already there. And then you'll end up with this one visible seam for your scrunchie. Then just move your fabric around to even out the scrunches, and you have a completed scrunchie. Next up, let's create this tie-back bandana. Time to make a cute cottagecore bandana. I am going to do it where there are 2 ties at the end, just because I think that that gives it a really fun, cute look. But you can, of course, just make the triangle big enough so that you can still tie it underneath. But I'm going to opt to have little ties at the end. So for these straps, I'm going to start by sewing down about 1 centimeter on each end, and then we're going to fold it in half with this folded edge on the outside and sew it all the way down, and then you'll just have a finished tube that will become our strap. Once that's done, we'll need to turn this strap out. I'm going to be using a loop turner. If you don't have one of these, then you can also use a safety pin method that I used earlier, or do a quick search. There are many ways to turn out thin straps like this. Wow, that was so much easier than so many other methods. This was worth buying. Okay, now we have a strap. We're going to leave it so that it's still a tube and still open. I'm going to go ahead and do it on my second tie and then catch back up with you. Give these a press quickly. As you can see, they're very fluffy right now. You'll just want to iron it so that the seam is on one side. Next, all we do is hem all these raw edges. All right, now to complete the triangle portion of this, we're just going to hem all 3 sides. Do 1 hem along the entire triangle and then the second rolled hem along the entire triangle. For the corners, you can fold them over like this to get a nice completed look. And here is how it looks after 1 fold over. And now we'll do our second turn on all 3 sides, and we'll end up with a little bit of a tail on the upper part, which is actually going to be helpful when we feed this into our straps. Now we're going to take our straps that we left open and just put this little tail into the strap. I'm going to use my loop turner just to make this a little easier, but you just need to pull this through a little bit. And then once that's done, I'm just going to sew 2 little straight lines to secure this down. And voila, you have a little strap on the end, and then you'll just want to close off the other end of the strap. You'll want to sew a line at the very end and then over where the stitch line already is. And then I'll just do the same thing to the other side, and then this bandana is complete. Next up, let's create some pet bandanas. These are the measurements I use. Chloe's neck is 10 inches around for reference. I am basing this off a very small dog, but based on my measurements, you'll want to do their neck size times 2 for the length, and you can base it off of that. I basically just cut out a triangle, made sure that I had enough extra where I could tie it around her neck. But yeah, all we're going to do to finish this off is I'm just going to hem all of the raw edges. Fold it over once and sew it down, and then fold it over again, sew it down, and that is a rolled hem, and I'm going to do that along all the sides, and then I'll do these ends last. And that's it. So here we go. Again, we're just going to want to hem all the sides of this triangle. So sew it down once, fold it over, sew it again. Once you've done all 3 sides of the triangle, you're going to want to fold over the squared off ends twice and sew them down. I did 2 small stitches at the end for a nice completed look. Easy peasy, you could absolutely stop here. I am going to add a little bit of flourish on here because Chloe is a bearded lady, so people think she is a boy enough without also putting her in a bandana. She needs a bow to let people know that she is a girly girl. So I have some leftover ribbon, and I'm going to put a little bow right here. I don't know, I think that looks pretty cute. It might be a little on the big side, but I'm going to go with that. So that's just to figure out the size, and then I'll just burn the tips so that they don't fray. Okay, and then so that I can sew this on with my machine and not have to hand sew, I'm going to go ahead and untie it and then find the middle. Then I'll find the middle of my bandana and mark that with a pen. There's the middle of that. And then we'll just want to join these 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew 2 vertical lines, 1 on each side of the center, just to tack this down, and then we can tie our bow and it's good to go. All right, so we have our 2 little lines, and now I can just tie our bow. Oh, I think it's so cute. Okay, 1 down. Next up, let's create this pink and red bandana. This is just an even simpler version where you don't need to hem. So instead of hemming the triangle, I am just adding bias tape all along the edges. You can create your own bias tape or use bias tape that you have left over. I created this bias tape from scraps that I had. And for bias tape, you just sew it down on one end and then fold it over to get a completed look like this. last but not least, let's create this heatless curling tool. These are the measurements that I use. I would say this is good for short to mid-length hair. I have quite a bit of extra room on here, but I would recommend adding more length if you have longer hair. Okay, next up I have some leftover lining material. You'll want something silky for this, and it should be very simple. You'll just need this and then a bunch of little scraps to stuff it with. So first we'll just fold over the end and sew it down, and then fold it in half and sew it all the way down the long end to create a tube. Then you'll want to go ahead and close off one end of the tube. And then we can flip this out. You can probably just do this with your hands like I did, or you can use the safety pin method that I have used earlier. Okay, so now that we have a tube that is closed at one end and open at the other, I'm going to grab my small scraps and start stuffing this. I highly recommend this sustainable sewing practice where you keep all of your small scraps in a little box or something so that you can use them for projects like this. Because my fabric was fairly thin and white, I could really only use light colored scraps in there so that it wasn't visible. So I would recommend doing this in a darker fabric if you don't want to worry about what color your scraps are. All right, and then once it is stuffed full, all you'll do is just push the stuffing down, and then we're just going to sew this down at the end here. We've created a heatless curling tool. I hope you enjoyed these super quick and easy under 10-minute projects. I had a lot of fun creating them, and I've had even more fun using them, so I hope you guys do too. Please let me know down in the comments which of these projects was your favorite, if you're going to give any of them a try, or if you have any other super quick and easy projects that you love to do or that you'd love to see me make. Comment them down below. I'd love to chat with you guys down there. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It is a completely free way to support this channel, and it means so much to me. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you back here next Tuesday for a new CaitMakes video. Come see what I'm making, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!